Hello everyone, my name is Juanita Archuleta and I work here in the NinjaTrader Denver office. We do have a very special event for you today with Chris Knox of ZoneTraderPro. I would like to mention it is important to understand that there is substantial risk in trading commodity futures, contracts, and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and will depend on your specific circumstances and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with it is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and could even incur losses beyond these amounts. For a full copy of the CFT risk disclosure, please use the following link that I just placed in the room. This presentation is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Any brokerage-related questions should be sent directly to our brokerage team using the following phone number or email address. With new tools added nearly every day, NinjaTrader ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find tools or services you are looking for with a simple keyword search. You'll also find information about upcoming webinars in an on-demand video archive to view previous event recordings using the following link. Also, if you are active on social media, we request that you follow us on Twitter and Facebook to get all things updated on NinjaTrader ecosystem related in a quick manner. NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. To ensure you are on the latest version of NinjaTrader and pick up a free live data trial, please visit the following link. If you are interested in purchasing NinjaTrader or leasing NinjaTrader, please visit the following link. And if you're just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live training on a daily basis. You can view a schedule of our upcoming weekly webinars using the following link. We're very excited for this unique event in which Chris will show us ZoneTraderPro's suite, a fully featured toolkit which analyzes patterns in order flow and price. Thank you again for everybody's attendance, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Chris. Please go ahead and take it away, Chris.
Thank you very much, Juanita. So a little bit about me. My name is Chris Knox, and I'm the founder of ZoneTraderPro. ZoneTraderPro was initially established in 2007 for my personal trading, and like a lot of people here, I created it because I got tired of buying software, going to a seminar. You'd see something that looked great on a Saturday, and the market was actually open, and those so-called signals would disappear. I initially dedicated ZoneTraderPro to finding repetitive patterns in the prices, and I didn't really have a set of filters to explain why a trade failed. Just relied on the numbers in the what was available in order flow software. In 2017, I began development of pattern matching and created my own order flow suite. And then in 2019, I began development of a cumulative delta divergence and trade classification tools. And what are we going to talk about? What is this webinar really all about? Well, I want to go over my tools. And the first tool that there is what I originally created ZoneTraderPro for, and price patterns. These price patterns identify trading patterns, and they also identify when there is risk. Also want to go over the advanced order flow patterns in the tools, the cumulative delta, which filters for order size and fill size, a suite of divergence indicators that identify accumulation and distribution based on market orders, and then something really completely new and unique, and that is a trade classification suite based upon accumulation or distribution. And I want to stress right here that there's a significant amount of information that I can give you on each of these topics. I also want to stress that I put a lot of information on my charts. You're not going to understand everything that you see on them, and don't really worry about that. The training explains everything, and this information then becomes understandable. I could do an entire webinar on each one of these subjects that we have on the chart right now, but our time is limited. So if you have any questions, I can answer them at the end of the webinar or answer them personally over the phone with my contact. Okay, so what are the necessary things that we have? Well, if you look at what ZoneTrader Pro offers, all of the 4 things that I just talked about are necessary for developing a trading plan. And the first is the price patterns. And ZoneTrader Pro has 5 types of these price patterns. And these patterns, including just regular trading patterns, also identify when there's a high risk. And this high risk occurs in our strong trend patterns. So we don't really want to get involved in stuff like that. We want to focus on our reversal patterns, our exhaustion patterns, our trend and divergence patterns. But we want to know when something is high risk so we can avoid that as a trading situation. The order flow patterns are just as important, and I have 6 types of those. I have 2 involving the point of control, and those are called the extension and absorption. I have a unique and proprietary order flow tool called the ZTP order flow. I also feature stopping and continuation ratios, trap traders, and extension zones. The next thing that is new to ZoneTrader Pro is the divergence patterns. And when I originally created these divergence patterns, I thought I was just going to be seeing my regular everyday divergence. Well, I didn't actually see, besides seeing the regular everyday divergence, I also was able to create a pattern that shows absorption and distribution, and a second pattern which I call special divergence. And special divergence really didn't have a good name for that, I'll be honest. But special divergence occurs when the price is falling, but the delta of that move is actually positive, and vice versa. The other thing about these divergence patterns is something that's unique to ZoneTrader Pro. And with this, we filter for the size of the order and not the size of the fill. That's extremely important here. And then the last thing I have is the cumulative delta itself. And what I've done over the last couple months is created a cumulative delta classification system. And with the cumulative classification delta, what I'm doing is I'm using the cumulative delta to see when a trade is in our favor or if we're trading against these large lot orders. So again, what you're going to see on the charts are going to be based on the size of a large lot order and not the size of the fill. Okay, so let's talk about what price pattern is and order flow. Price patterns and order flow are compatible with the shark indicators Bloodhound and Blackbird. And what you see on the chart right now are the red racing stripes, the red and green racing stripes. And we can see how a combination of the price patterns works very well. So why did the first trend trade fail after there was order flow? Well, this is pretty easy to understand. It's not statistically profitable to take a trend trade after an exhaustion pattern. More on that later, but this is where ZoneTrader Pro excels. With ZoneTrader Pro, we can identify when it is a high risk to trade, and being on the right side of the trade, or I'm sorry, on the right side of the chart, we can also see that we had a trend trade when there was no order flow, and that fails. And really important point to stress here. The purpose of ZoneTrader Pro is not to take every zig and zag in the market. The purpose of ZoneTrader Pro is only to be taking the best trades. So that's really what we're looking to do here. Now, here's an order flow chart. And I have this on a 5-range order flow bar. And at the top, we can see a short tick divergence. We can see the tick divergence exhaustion trade that we actually just saw on the previous chart. So let's talk about our order flow. This is the most important thing you're going to learn in this webinar. And I just can't stress this enough. Order flow by itself is not going to be a successful trading strategy. And this is because it is rare what you see on the right side of this chart, where market goes straight in one direction. ZoneTrader Pro identifies 6 different types of patterns. You can see the strongest patterns at the top before the sell-off. Now when we combine that with the exhaustion price pattern that you just saw from the previous chart, we have the beginnings of a great trading plan. Why is this only the beginning? Well, because we have other tools that we can use to make this even better. Now, what can we learn from an order flow bar? Well, I basically would argue that the numbers you're seeing here by themselves, they're useless. You can't do anything with them. You can see that if you look at the top of the bar, you see that there was 2,411 contracts bought at the top of the bar. Is that useful information? Is that going to take the price higher? Well, if you look at what ZoneTrader Pro actually classified on that bar, we can see that there really was a lot more information here. Now, ZoneTrader Pro features another unique proprietary indicator, which I call the delta strength. And the delta strength is the black circle up at the top with the negative 877. Now, what I've done is I've created an indicator that by looking at this chart, it's going to tell you a lot of information. Well, first it's telling you the strength of that bar. And the strength of that bar is not the delta of the bar. But because it's black, it's also telling you something different. It's telling you, by just looking at it very quickly, that we had extremely high volume on that bar. The second thing is that the point of control was at the top of the down bar. We also had a stopping ratio there of 0.47. Trapped buyers, and the red boxes around the top 3 price levels are indicating absorption, which ZoneTrader Pro is showing. The number on the bottom of 2013 is the delta of that bar, the difference between the previous bar and this bar, and the delta actually increased by over 2,000 contracts, but we had a down bar. We also had my ZTP order flow signal, and the delta strength at 877 itself was a very strong number. So what is delta strength? Well, it's just another piece of the order flow package. And again, I want to stress it's not the delta of the bar. It's a proprietary calculation, and what it does is it incorporates tape reconstruction filtering. So we can go and we can filter for large lot traders. So here's something that happened almost exactly a year ago, which was just really amazing. Here we have a large lot trader buying 7,500 contracts. So where you see the round 500, what the software is doing is it's picking up these individual 500 lot trades. And again, that's going back to the size of the order and not the size of the fill. This happened a year ago on December 21st, so going up into Christmas. Now, immediately after that, within 20 minutes, the market was an amazing 37 points higher. We don't know if he sold, because if he did, he didn't do them on market orders. So, you know, we're only going to be able to track the market orders with this. But what was actually kind of amazing is this buyer, he wasn't done, and over the next 2 days, he bought tens of thousands of more contracts. And it was, well, the person literally made millions of dollars after this. Here we see delta strength on an order flow chart. So this is telling us the order flow on the range bar itself. Here we see heavy selling that was filtered for the large lot traders, driving the price from an exhaustion trade with the ZTP order flow signal also. One important note about the ZoneTraderPro software, it is that a very important philosophy that I created when I first created the software, and that's nothing is going to disappear from a chart. So the chart that you see static here would be the same chart that you would have seen in real time. And what this does is this gives the ability to go back and create and back test a trading plan. Now, here is the next type of tool that that ZoneTraderPro has. And ZoneTraderPro can identify 3 different types of divergences in real time. ZoneTraderPro can, of course, identify a standard divergence. And it can also identify when the contract is under accumulation or distribution. It does this in 2 ways, which are completely unique. It first analyzes market orders, and in a completely separate way analyzes limit orders. Here you see 2 ZoneTraderPro trend trades with order flow that also had distribution divergence. And we see these here and here. This distribution divergence is what's based on the market orders. So now you have a combination of a price pattern with order flow and the ZoneTraderPro divergence indicator that is telling you that the contract is being distributed. But we're not done here yet. Notice how above each one of these trades I've placed a circle here and here. And what those circles are telling us is that the black bar is picking up a number from the cumulative delta, and that number that's being picked up from the cumulative delta is a ratio. If it is above a certain amount, then that is telling me that the contract was under distribution in this case by sellers on limit orders. So here we have a very high number, I believe it's over 300. The second time here we have 132. And then back here on this trade we had a 99. But these are all extremely excellent things that tell us that these trades are hopefully going to be successful in putting things on our side. This idea of seeing the density of limit orders is basically a brand new concept, and I've never heard anybody talk about it before. But just look at the reasons that you have to trade on this chart. Price patterns, order flow, market order distribution, and limit order distribution. And that's really a whole lot of information being put in front of you. Now, there are 3 types of divergences, and so I want to go over them. There's the regular divergence, and this is, of course, a real-time indicator. You will see an update from bar to bar. So here we have patterns that are identifying an exhaustion trade with order flow with divergence. And also, of course, you see the limit order distributions that are going on up there. Every time the price traded to the high, there was this limit order distribution. We're also being told that there was significant selling going into the exhaustion pattern, which is this red bar right here. That is the part of the classification system. Now we have something that I call special divergence. And ZoneTraderPro, I basically created this. And in these two examples, what we're seeing as price rose right here and rose right here, the large lot traders, which is what we're filtering for, they were the sellers, they weren't the buyers. And if you notice that this number KP2 right here, this one is a negative 1100 and this one here is a negative 300. At each of these accumulation numbers, these are very high numbers, and I meant to say KP3. KP3 is the value that is from the high to the high, here to here. So that's kind of what we're looking for. As we got to each one of these trades, the large lot traders were, by the time we got over here, the large lot traders were almost 10,000 contracts short from almost the same price back here. So you got to ask yourself, what do these large lot traders know? And the last type of divergence that the indicator picks up is what I call the accumulation and distribution. So ZoneTrader, this again, real-time indicator that it's showing you this accumulation and distribution, and it's being based on market orders. These in and of itself are great patterns, which are tradable with or without a ZoneTraderPro price pattern. It only increases the probability of success when we have this to go along with a price pattern as we have right there. We can see that if you look at this progression, this is something that is really interesting and why this type of software is necessary in your trading. Here we had a very legitimate distribution indication along with a reversal trading pattern. Okay, great. So we're going to enter this trade. We're going to be in this trade right about there. And then as we create a new zigzag, we suddenly get an accumulation signal right here. Now, if you're short in this trade, you're going to say to yourself, oh my gosh, this is going to be going against me. And, you know, at the very least, get out of it. But it is something that you can reverse with. And the point being here that without this type of divergence indicator on your charts, you're short from here, you've got no idea what's going to happen when price hits right here and instantly reverses. So with the tools, you're able to pick that up and reverse the trade. Just also one quick note about when these signals appear on a chart. Basically, this indicator is going to start to compute when we have a new zigzag. So if we're looking at this area right here, this is the bar where we had a new zigzag. Price actually traded down one tick lower. So we may have had the signal here, but as price traded lower, the signal reevaluated and moved. But we weren't getting the signal during this entire move lower. We're only going to evaluate once we have a new zigzag. Now, what is the cumulative delta? So, you know, this is pretty common. Everybody's heard about it. Every bar, it's going to have a delta, and the delta is either a buyer or a seller making that market order. And this is a passive market, I'm sorry, this is an active market participant and not somebody that's passive. The passive guys they're the ones that are using the limit orders. And the cumulative delta is the total of all the deltas from a specified start time. So this is the information that we find in the data section down here of the volumetric chart. The only problem is down here, who has their eyes focused down here 24/7? I know I don't. So it's pretty hard to use this information for anything other than back testing. Now, here's the difference between the cumulative delta indicator that I have and anything else that's basically out there. There is no difference if you're looking at every contract traded, but there is a major and fundamental difference if you want to filter for these large lot contract traders. This ZTP indicator is now filtered for 25 contracts or more, and that's the green line here down on the bottom, and is also being filtered for 1 to 7 contracts here, which is this red line right here. So as we can see from the lines I've drawn here, we have a divergence. And so now we got to ask ourselves, what's the major and fundamental difference between this and other cumulative deltas? Well, the other cumulative delta is going back to this idea of filtering for the large contract traders. This right here is the same price pattern that you previously saw using the NinjaTrader volumetric bars. And I have that filter set at the same exact thing of 25. But instead of picking up all the trades I was picking up before, it's only picking up the size of the fills that ended up being 25 or more. So what you're seeing here is only the size of the fill and not necessarily the size of the order. With this, and the whole idea behind this is the tape reconstruction filtering. We go back and reconstruct the tape. Without this tape reconstruction, again, size of the fill. With it, we can see the real size of the order. And this is the cumulative delta divergence. This is how we can see that cumulative delta divergence in the large lot traders, whereas the other chart, which we're only seeing fills, actually told us price was going higher, or the cumulative delta, I'm sorry, was going higher. Then with this, we can also see this divergence between what the retail trader was doing and what the large lots were doing. The other thing that we can use this for is we can obviously see it on the cumulative delta as we see down here and use it to confirm our trend. Here we have a strong trend with a significant number of large lot traders, and the tape reconstruction that we're talking about is also used in the ZTP delta strength indicator. And these are the red and the green circles you see here. These are likely individual trades. As you can see, down here we have a 200 lot going off, a 100 lot going off, and it's the same idea that you saw before where we saw the 500 lot trader. So here's the basic idea that I had once I've got the cumulative delta, and that is a classification system. And with this classification system, it's basically a new concept. And you know how everybody always talks about the trend is your friend? Well, the only problem with your friend the trend is that he really doesn't tell you, well, hey, there's this change coming. He doesn't talk a whole lot. But with the ZoneTraderPro classification system, we can see very easily, as you see in this chart in front of us, when things are in our favor or against or going against us in the in the charts. Stanley asked a question if I have a recording. I don't really have a recording, but all of this can be seen live. Stanley, you want to give me a call? It just basically takes too long. I have done, there is one I know that I have on my strategy page. So I know there is one there. I've sped it up a little so you can see it in real time, but just not of today's market. I did post a couple of pictures of it on Twitter though, so you know, you can, if you wanted to check out my Twitter feed, you can see a couple pictures from today. And today's trades resulted in some very good trades for that 40-point move. Getting back to the cumulative delta classification. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to pull information out of the cumulative delta. And in order to do that, we're going to get 3 different values. So the first value is the KP2. And this KP2 is this right here, which is either a low to a high or a high to a low. In this case, it's the high to the low. And this is basically how hard the buying or selling is going into our trade. KP3 is the low to the low or the high to the high. In this case, the KP3 is the low to the low. Now, the last number, which I've gone and created here, is the KP2 ratio. And the KP2 ratio is basically this number of contracts, which is 3,797, divided by the number of ticks. In this case, it was 16 ticks, to give us a ratio of a negative 237. Now, this is what tells us whether the contract is under a limit order, accumulation, and distribution. And this is just super important. In this case, the contract was under accumulation by about 2.5 times what I consider my trigger value to lead into this trade that we have right here. Now, if you want to find out a little bit more about this, you go to my website. What I've done is I've created a trading strategy tab up here. And today I just added to it with some additional data and statistics. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to find all the videos, all of the ideas. Basically, it's a complete knowledge base for this idea. And we're just basically going to find it under that strategy tab right there. And like I said, there is a video there where you can see this live. So it'd be a good idea to check that out. Now, one of the main objectives in ZoneTraderPro is to be able to backtest ideas and determine where we can find these statistical trading advantages. This is the main reason why nothing is going to disappear from a ZoneTraderPro chart. And with that in mind, I analyzed 3 months of data from September 6th to December 6th of this year. I only analyzed the first of the trades, which is the trend trade. And I also want to stress here that this analyzation, it's not complete. But what it does, and besides not being complete, it's also not a trading strategy. In the weeks ahead, basically going to be adding more information and additional trades to this study in order to have, and so you can understand the numbers that we're looking at right here. In order to have what is defined as a winning trade, we need to make a new zigzag on a chart. And the zigzag for the analyzation of this first test was set at 9 ticks, so 2.25 points. This doesn't mean, however, that every trade that went for 9 ticks is going to be filled as a winner. Really important for you to understand that. The reason that this is that you're going to have some type of order flow before the trade is actually entered. So if you took, if it took 4 ticks of order flow before you could enter the trade on a market order, then you're only going to have about 4 or 5 favorable ticks before the market reversed. And the original worksheet, I'm going to be posting the original Excel file. I'm going to be posting that tomorrow on the website. And it will be available for anybody that wants to look at it and provide, check out some of the detailed examples. Now, if we look at everything, basically we ended up with 654 trades. And of those 654 trades that had order flow with them, there was 504 of these wins, resulting in a 77% winning average. And again, I just want to stress we're not pulling, unless your profit target is 4 or 5 ticks, we're not pulling dollars out of every one of these trades. The other thing that I've looked at is there's 2 price patterns that cause a trend trade to fail. And those are price patterns that I call the broken reversal and exhaustion. So when we take out trades that cause our trend trade to fail, we boost our average up to about 80.7%. Now, here's a pretty amazing statistic that if there was a special divergence or accumulation distribution and we're not taken out of that trade because of the numbers going against us and into that trade, we again added, we ended up with a 77% winning average. We can look at trades where the previous classifications were in our favor, meaning that the KP2 and the KP3, they weren't going against us. And when that happened, we're up to about 79.9%, so almost 80%. And we can then combine these 2 bullet points to get the best out of the best, and we end up with a 79.5% winning average. I was going and completing that web page today, and I actually achieved, by using some of these classifications, I actually achieved an even higher percentage. I think it was a little over 81%. And but there wasn't time to incorporate that into this webinar. But again, check out the web page, and you'll see the most current statistics. Now, still want to reiterate, not a complete trading system. It requires work. But the point is that when a price pattern is combined with order flow, and the cumulative delta is used to classify the state of the market, ZoneTraderPro is historically going to put you on the right side of that trade more often than not. ZoneTraderPro is based on real-time information, and it's not some mathematical formula like some super duper improved RSI, CCI, MACD divergence that's been super optimized just for, you. That's not going to work. What ZoneTraderPro does is I also provide unlimited training after the purchase to support you free of charge. This includes getting you trained on identifying the patterns and using this classification system. Price patterns and the order flow, as I previously stated, are compatible with shark indicators, Bloodhound, and Blackbird. The classification and divergence systems are not compatible at this time. And I recently, just 2 days ago, had a conversation with the owner of Shark Indicators and provided him with some code, and he identified an issue that is probably what is keeping it from working. So fingers crossed, I've identified that issue to my programmer. So hopefully in the future, and hopefully in the near future, the divergence and the classification will be able to be added in. There is no trial of the ZoneTrader Pro suite. And basically the reason is because it takes a lot of training to get you up to speed. But anybody in this webinar, you can either give me a call, get me on Skype. My Skype name is ZoneTraderPro, or send me an email from the contact page. And I got no problem with inviting you to come to my screen and do live trading. My feeling is that everybody, including myself when I first started trading, has been trying to find that holy grail. And, you know, I was doing that 13 years ago when I first started ZoneTrader Pro. My holy grail when I started ZoneTrader Pro was to try to figure out why a trade failed. And you know, I knew statistically that the patterns themselves were statistically profitable, but I could never understand why that trade failed. But through the combined use of order flow and the cumulative delta classification system, this has now become the closest I could have ever imagined to being a complete comprehensive trading system, and it's become my personal holy grail. So in conclusion, you know, what we're seeing is that you combine a price pattern with order flow, and these are going to result in some high probability trades. This ZoneTrader Pro Cumulative Delta is unique. It's filtering for order size. You're not going to find any other program doing that. ZoneTrader Pro also offers a unique real-time divergence suite that identifies these divergence patterns that no other vendors offer. And it's also, you're also able to filter for large lot traders, again, something nobody else can offer. ZoneTrader Pro also is going to teach you when to avoid high-risk trading situations. Just sit on your hands. Don't do it. You know, don't lose money. The ZoneTrader Pro order flow suite also makes it easy to understand order flow, volume, and the rapidly developing patterns in order flow. You know, you don't have to learn anything because everything's right in front of you, and it's being shown to you in real time. Only with ZoneTrader Pro are you going to be able to classify the cumulative delta and provide and basically provide you important information no other vendor does. This information significantly increases our historical win rates. So, you know, basically, what the ultimate conclusion, you need ZoneTrader Pro and to effectively understand the order flow and the market pricing patterns. Now, what I'm doing, which will be valid for 48 hours, is I'm going to offer a free version upgrade to the ZoneTrader Pro Bloodhound version, which I normally charge $395 for. This is the largest discount I've ever offered. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching and now open it up to any questions. David asks if I have each day of the week where I show the indicator plotting on live charts. Again, David, you can see those, come to my screens, nothing changes, and you can, like I said, one of the latest videos does show these being developed in real time. Mini asks if you can apply this in real time. I just can't bring my charts up right now and show you in real time, like to, but because of the webinar, I just can't do that. Again, got no problem, come to my charts. All of the, and Raymond asks if all the text print from the indicator. Yes, all of the KP2, KP3 numbers are being printed there in real time, and also in real time, the KP2, KP3 numbers, they're actually being updated in real time. So this is what I mean by this. Let me see if I can find uh, the ideas. So here, when price was trading here and trading at this low right here, these were the numbers. And they become set in stone when we have a new zigzag. But up here, as price continues to trade to the right, but not make a lower low, one of the things that I've done is I provide the live number right here. And that's really interesting because if what we're looking at is we see price rising, we enter the trade, and then suddenly, you see the KP2 number drop here by a few hundred to a few thousand. You're going to see that in real time even before it gets to trading a lower low. The other reason that I do this is this ratio number here actually makes a difference. So if as price is going higher, that ratio number is going higher, that's actually a good sign. If it's going higher and you see it coming back down like we traded back down right here, and this number is lower, that's a bad sign. So this real-time information provides us information that, again, you're just not going to see anywhere else. And Don asked a question. Yes, you need the lifetime version to get order flow, to get the volumetric charts. You do not need the lifetime version for any of the other tools. However, if you are planning on using Bloodhound with the with ZoneTraderPro, you would need the lifetime license to again pull the information from the volumetric chart. So, and I know that right now, Don, NinjaTrader for about the next week is offering a discount on their lifetime license. So I would really take a look at doing the upgrade right now while you can get that discount. I don't really understand what you mean, Ray, about other vendors' footprints. I only support NinjaTrader, so it's only going to work for the NinjaTrader system. And Pablo asked, what is Bloodhound? That is what you're seeing right here, Pablo. And basically from one chart, what Bloodhound is doing is Bloodhound is picking up the combination of a price pattern with order flow. So right here, we got a buy signal. Right there, we got a sell signal, and then a sell signal here that actually went against us. But that is the idea behind Bloodhound. I can see everything in front of me. But the really interesting part and the big advantage to Bloodhound is that I can go and quickly prototype a trading system. So it's really a huge advantage to this system. And like I said, I couldn't trade. I've had it for a year now, and it's just a tremendous indicator to help you go about trading. Melvis, I have no idea who Kozak is, so my opinion is mine's better. Um, Raymond asked about the words bearish and bullish. What they were referring to is the divergence indicator. The divergence indicator is basically going to go from the high to the high and say bearish. So that's where you're going to get that. It's either going to say bearish or bullish. If it's accumulation or distribution, again, you're going to see the line drawn high to the high, but it will say accumulation and distribution so that it's not confused with a regular divergence. The price, Gamini asked the price. That is $2,695. And as I said, the Bloodhound upgrade, normally $395, is going to be included with that. The Bloodhound indicator itself, that is Shark Indicators, and the cost of Bloodhound is $795. So, just those are the amounts for everything. Pablo asked regarding the data feed. I use a combination of data feeds. I prefer Kinetic, and then to execute my trades, I use Continuum, as my broker is NinjaTrader brokerage. So, but I prefer Kinetic because it gives me additional information as far as one of my patterns goes, as one of my divergence patterns goes. And that feed is not provided through the Continuum. Gamini asked, do you need Bloodhound to run the order flow charts? And the answer is absolutely not. Like I said, I love Bloodhound. It's a great add-on, but it's not necessary. Basically because when I trade in the area on my left, what I'm looking at here is my order flow chart. The area on my right is my price patterns chart with the divergences and all the numbers. So basically, just on my main screen, I'm trading off of just one screen, and that's all that is quote unquote necessary. Bloodhound helps, but it's obviously not anything that's mandatory. Raymond asks if there's a monthly subscription. Ray, there's not, and it just goes back to the amount of time that I end up putting in with you as a new customer. So if I end up putting in 10 hours of my time and you do something, you only stay with it for a month, well, then, that's a lot of my time and not a lot of money. So, no, I don't do that. Gamini, it's not really an issue about time. I'm basically here the entire day if I'm not working and trading. I'm working on the website, so it's not really a big deal. If you want, you can send me a Skype or a email through the contact page, and basically you can set it up. I am in Eastern Standard Time, so however, whatever is good for you is good for me. And that's basically also how I handle my training. Is I have my customers, whatever good for them. I have several customers in China, Australia, Europe, Great Britain. So, I end up doing training at weird hours, and that's really not that big a deal. Rich asks about the 2 data feeds, and
Hey,
two data
Chris,
feeds. Yeah.
After this question, we're going to have to be wrapping up, okay?
Okay. The data feeds you just basically connect, and Ray, it can be used, and this is kind of an important point to make. This can be used for other futures contracts. But what's important to know is that the more liquidity to the contract, the better we are going to do as far as our winning percentages. So if you want to trade oil, you're going to be able to get all the same information. But you know, me personally, I don't have enough Xanax in the prescription cabinet to be trading oil. So I just prefer the ES or the EN. But yeah, the indicator itself would just have to be tweaked for those other futures contracts, and that's something I help you with. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I hope my microphone and my voice, which I'm now about to lose, hasn't interrupted anything. But if everybody, if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank Ninja and thank Juanita for this opportunity. Thank you, Juanita.
Thanks, Chris. Yes. Of course, we just want to thank Chris today for his great presentation. Everyone in attendance, I know there's been quite a few questions regarding a recording. A recording will be sent to everybody who came today and who has registered and wasn't able to make it. NinjaTrader is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. We do hope that you find value in these events and will attend them on a regular basis. To view upcoming webinars, please use the link that I just the link I just added to the room. We'd like to remind you that information in this was provided of ZoneTrader Pros and not of NinjaTraders. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Thank you, everyone.